Hmm. All right. Hello, my name is Nicholas Hilarion. Today we're going to be talking about Kenya and SDG 11, part of the fourth SDG that we're talking about in class. So, firstly, before we get started on the presentation, I just want to introduce the mind map of Kenya and SDG 11 and introduce some challenges and issues related to SDG 11. First off, we have urbanization challenges. Uh, those consist of strain on existing infrastructure and increased demand for housing, leading to informal settlements. Next, we have inadequate infrastructure and services. Both of these are transportation and waste management, things like public transportation options and unreliable roads, and then things like accumulation of uncollected solid waste and limited recycling. And the next two we'll go through kind of quickly is environmental degradation degradation is water pollution and then vulnerability to climate change, like more flooding, heat stroke, things like that. And social and economical uh, inequalities is like disparities in housing and education, and high rates of unemployment among youth in urban environments. So, with that said, we're going to move on to the presentation here. And so, we're going to speak about again SDG 11. And just a quick summary of it, we have Kenya, we're going to talk about the United States. We'll compare the two, offer some suggestions for Kenya and SDG 11, and then citations at the end. So first off, in Kenya, about 60% of urban population live in the slums or informal settlements. The housing deficit in urban areas is estimated around 2 million housing units, while the annual demand is about 200,000 new units, yet only about 50,000 are currently built each year. Only 24.6% of urban households in Kenya have access to main sewer systems, and then only 15.3% of households have access to solid waste management. And then the urban growth rate is about 3.7 per year, with many cities unable to keep up with their current infrastructure and service delivery. Moving on to the United States, we have places like Pritchard, Alabama, where over half of the drinking water is bought due to broken pipes and outdated water systems. Um, and that just makes it where they're unable to use water in their own housing, uh, with outdated systems having a lot of rust or materials in the water, and then broken pipes. Some people can't even get it. Many U.S. metro areas face major challenges with affordable housing, rising rent burdens, and unsafe buildings. New York is a great example. New York has a huge housing crisis, and a lot of New York apartments are pretty run down, and it's pretty hard to fix that. And then in 2024, over 65,000 uh, 653,000 people in the U.S. experience homelessness on a given night, the highest number recorded since data collection began in 2017. Next, we'll have the comparison between the two. This one's kind of simple: is Kenya struggles with basic housing and infrastructure, while the U.S. usually faces affordability and homelessness. Kenya's issues lack of infrastructure, while the U.S. suffers from over-reliance on cars and in, inequitable transit access. Overuse plastic pollution and unequal access to clean air slash water persists, especially in marginalized area in Kenya. And then Kenya's challenge is infrastructure deficiency, while the U.S. is overconsumption and waste sustainability. In the US, we waste a ton and a ton, and a lot of this gets put into waste management systems that just don't work. While in Kenya, they simply just don't have this stuff being delivered or brought on time. So some suggestions for Kenya is to invest in low-cost, eco-friendly housing using local materials and community labor, such as Kenya's Affordable Housing Program, AHP, to ensure slum dwellers can transition into safe, affordable homes. Two is to develop walkable and bike-friendly cities with green corridors and safe pedestrian infrastructure. Then three is to introduce citywide recycling programs and community waste cooperatives that turn waste into usable materials and plant urban trees to protect green spaces and reduce flooding and heat. That is all. Here we have our citations. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.